Good morning, freedom fighter cipher bonks. How you doing? All right, it is Monday. How you doing, Monday? Bullish as fuck as usual. How you doing, freedom fighter cipher punks? All right, you know what we're gonna do today? We are gonna do more schooling of how the P-Maker system should operate, all right? It's going to be crazy. How you doing? We're going to keep drilling this down until we all can just talk about it like it's normal, all right? How you doing, freedom fighters? Cipher punk? Alrighty, here. Let me just get all this all set. And now you should see on screen that we have the, a lot of work here I put into this. All right, so let's start here like we did yesterday. So it starts with the vault or the VAT. That is your vault, or where all the collateral or your pDAI gets minted, etc. And right now we're in bad debt because there is no collateral, right? So what is bad debt? It means that there's unbacked pDAI in circulation, right? And the only way to get it back is through liquidations and flop auctions. And that's what we're going to go over here, because there's also flap auctions, but that's what happens when the price goes above $1. We're going to stick to the flop auction, all right? So with that being said, now that we know that there's no collateral here and we have pDAI circulating, we know we have bad debt. So what happens now? So now the VAT speaks to the VOW, and the VOW is like, in addition to the VAT, because the VAT also keeps track of the accounting and the deficit of the debt and everything like that as well. But the VOW represents the maker's protocol's balance as a receipt of both the system surplus, if you're above $1, or system debt. So it's a function to cover deficits via debt auctions and discharge of surpluses via surplus auctions. Okay, so that's important because the maker will do different things based on whether it's a flop or a flap. So a flop, it's going to mint P-Maker so that people can bid for a pDAI to bring it back into the VAT so that you don't need as much collateral. Now, what happens with these auctions is the amount of maker will slowly go down and slowly go down and slowly go down and slowly go down until you need other ways to get the collateral back, you know? So I'll touch on that later, because I think there's more to this than this maker than meets the eye. How you doing, freedom fighter cipher punk? All right, so we had the VOW, we talked about the circulating pDAI. So let's talk about the debt auctions. The debt auctions are used to recapitalize the system by auctioning off the maker that was minted right here for a fixed amount of DAI, and the bidders compete to bid with DAI for a decreasing amount of P-Maker, and that is during the flop or the deficit auction. So the flopper is the debt auction house. Debt auctions are used to satisfy the VOW's debt by auctioning off maker for a fixed amount of eternal DAI. Bidders compete with decreasing amounts requests of maker. After the auction is settled, the flopper sends the received internal DAI to the VOW here to cancel out the debt here to get that circulating pDAI out of circulation and to increase the loan to value ratio, which we need above 150%. And the flopper also mints maker to the winning bidder, right? So the priorities of the flopper is to raise the amount of DAI equivalent to the amount of bad debt as fast as possible, and also to minimize the amount of maker inflation, because that can be bad as well, right? So here, it shows you that the P-Maker mints, the P-Maker protocol mints its P-Maker governance token used to bid on pDAI, right? Now, I saw somebody talk about this. So the live must be won for the cat to bite. That's part of the cage functions. It's very important because that's what like turns on this whole like loop to work. This is like the thing to get restarted from the end stage module, or the ending module, whatever it's called. All right. So there's a couple other things we need to go over. We went over all this. So the liquidations are, the vault is automatically liquidated if the collateral in USD terms falls too low. Part of the collateral is auctioned off by the protocol to cover outstanding debt plus penalty fees. DAI is then burned by the protocol to decrease the supply. So that's how the supply decreases, if people are wondering. The vault owner receives the leftover collateral. So what are the system's lines of defense? At any point, the system must have more value in collateral than value of DAI supply. The following mechanisms help to maintain the supply solvency. One, we got supply and demand, right? And the supply and demand of the vaults, and thus DAI is influenced by stability fees, the DAI savings rate, and the debt ceiling adjustments. 2, liquidation. Anytime the collateral value of the vault gets closer to its debt, it becomes riskier. The system liquidates the vaults that get too risky. 3, maker, minting, burning. If maker holders govern the maker protocol successfully, the protocol will accrue surplus DAI as DAI holders pay stability fees. On the other hand, if liquidations are inadequate, the protocol will accrue bad debt. Once the surplus DAI and bad debt amount hits a threshold as voted by the maker holders, then the protocol will discharge the surplus DAI or bad debt to the flapper or flopper smart contract by buying and burning, minting and selling maker respectively. Number 4, the emergency shutdown. This is a process that is used as a last resort in cases of extreme market irrationality, attacks, or coordinated upgrades. Emergency shutdown gracefully settles the maker platform while ensuring that all users, both DAI holders and vault users, receive the net value of the assets that they are entitled to. So that's like a quick overview of everything that's going on, right? On the maker specifically. Now, that's how the maker contract helps maintain the dollar peg. Now, what if I told you you can use Compound, Aave, Curve, all these other DeFi applications can help maintain the peg, right? I don't know how, but remember they changed back in the day, they changed the collateral. There was a vote or Spellcast or something where they changed the collateral to be, you can use like People's Wrap Bitcoin. I think they used the People's Wrap ETH and pDAI and other assets, pHex, eHex, etc. Well, that's good because you know why? You can use these assets, or you can use like, so there's a bunch, remember the CDAI mint and the CETH and the C Bitcoin, there's tons of them floating around. Well, if you mint CDAI and now you have all this circulating pDAI, you can take this extra circulating pDAI and use it to take out the CDAI and use that as collateral without getting rid of the pDAI, because you can always claim back the CDAI later, you know what I mean? So, and this applies for Aave, Curve. So you can see how like you can use other, there's like 20 different ways to skin a cat, right? You know, you could do it many different ways. And that's what I think is going to make the P maker stand out from the Ethereum maker. We're going to have a much more robust system of collateral backing and ways to keep the dollar peg. Yeah, so that's it for today. I think I covered everything. I'll keep adding to this every day. We're going to get better and better. We're going to become like PhD students in P-Maker. How you doing, freedom fighters? We're going to be the stablecoin gurus. How you doing, cypherpunks? How you doing, freedom fighters, cypherpunks? So yeah, that was a long video, but like it's for education purposes. I really hope you made it through. I hope it wasn't boring. If it is, I'll start adding funny shit into. I can do that as well. How you doing, freedom fighter, cypherpunk? Everything's going to $1 and above minimum. How you doing, freedom fighter, cypherpunk? I hope you love me, freedom fighter, cypherpunk. How you doing, motherfucker?